It's Sunday morning, and I'm Haiti.
And I'm blessed and grateful to be in recovery. My name is Felice. This is our Sunday morning Why Wait for Recovery recovery meeting. And Why Wait for Recovery is a community. There are people talking to us back there in the house. We do this very professional.
Yeah, let me just explain what's going on. Billy stayed for the session, but he's going to say goodbye.
But he has a relapse this week, so it's okay. So it's a recovery community, and we talk about overeating and emotional overeating and binging and purging and all those great things that keep us addicted and the reasons why we're addicted. And this morning, so Angela, I want to kind of get into something pretty quickly. So Angela and I were having a conversation about telling the truth when you're not sticking with your food plan, or I don't want to call it relapse yet, because if you don't have a substantial amount of recovery, then I don't believe that you've relapsed. I just believe that you're not in recovery yet. So I believe that if you don't have a substantial amount of recovery, if you're using because you still don't understand how to deal with yourself and your life emotionally, like you haven't changed stuff up here, and that's okay, because that's what we're here to learn. And so when I was speaking with Angela about people in recovery not being honest with other people in recovery, not being honest at all. Good morning. Not being honest at all if they're quote unquote cheating or slipping. And when I spoke, I said a lot this morning. When I spoke with Angela about it, she said that it was hard for people to talk with me because it's scary, and I guess I'm scary. So people really aren't apt to tell me the truth. Now, yes.
I would love to jump in. I think for me, because you scare the crap out of me at times, okay?
I scare the crap out of everybody.
Yeah, you do, because you've got a way, you know things. I mean, you work in the field, you know you've got different insights, you've had the experience. But beyond that, when I'm using, I'm feeling guilty and ashamed, and my automatic response is to lie.
Of course.
Even if I love that person, and no matter how much I love them, it seems like I revert back to that 3-year-old with a caca in my diaper, that I go walk in the, stand in the corner, and I'm ashamed and guilty, and I don't want anyone to see it. And you, to me, is someone that I absolutely respect and I absolutely love, but I've lied to you before when I've been in relapse.
Right, and so you guys, when I relapsed, I lied to everybody. I didn't lie to you or to you or to you. I lied to everybody because I was lying to myself.
Right.
And so the lying part is part of our addiction. First of all, we're so used to lying about everything, by the way. We're so used to that anyway. But the thing is that when you're worried about being judged, it's usually because you're judging yourself, right? Because we feel low, because we feel bad, because we feel less than, because we're using, and like I said, and the lying is a major, major, major part of our addiction. As we go through step work, we're gonna learn that we don't need to lie. So there have been things that you've told me in the past that you thought were gonna make me upset, and did I ever get upset about them?
Well, no, and
No.
and one of the things
and I'm going to tell you why I don't get upset.
Right. One of the things that I've learned is, as a parent, I mean, beyond even anything else, as a parent, I've always told my kids, do not lie to me. So it's been one of those things that I really get the most upset about is do not lie to me, and it's quite a contradiction in terms, because I lie to me all the time. I mean, those conversations that I had when I'm in active addiction, I'm juggling. So I become the master juggler. So I'm juggling your schedule, so I know where you are, and I'm juggling your schedule, and I'm obsessing over how I'm planning to go get my next drive-through fixed meal, whatever the story is, my next snack, my next binge thing. But I'm juggling everybody else. So I'm lying to them and I'm sounding busy, but I'm actually not achieving much because I'm moving all the plates so I can get the time to do what I need to do, because that's what I do as an addict.
Right, and most importantly, you're lying to you. And the reason why you're lying to you...
in front of other people.
Well, of course not.
Right.
I mean, who uses in front of everybody else?
Right.
So, but, So most importantly, I think when we're lying to ourselves, when we're making those excuses for ourselves, that makes it a whole lot easier to lie to somebody else. And so, Ange, you and I have been in situations where you've told me something that you thought I might get upset about. And do I ever get upset?
No.
No. And so the thing that Angeli spoke with me about was, like, Angeli will tell me something and I say, I don't care. And then that hurts her feelings, like I don't care about her. And so when we talk about our responsibility to ourselves and our own happiness, you guys, the people that I care about, I care about. The people that I reach, and the people that I do my best to help, I do my best to help. If you relapse, it's not going to make me angry for a couple of reasons. First of all, because I'm an addict, I'm in recovery, been there myself. So whether or not, if I didn't relapse, would it be as easy for me to forgive? I think so, but maybe not, right? And when I say forgive, meaning it took me so long to forgive myself, why would I not forgive you? But when I say that I don't care, what I mean is your life is your life. How you choose to live it, you choose to live it. If you reach your hand out to me for help, I'm gonna be there to help you. You guys, when I relapsed, there were a couple of people that were very close to me that were very, 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 very angry with me, and they stayed angry for a really long time. What that did was it put a rift between my relationship with them, but besides that, they let my relapse screw up their life. And I wasn't stealing their money or holding anybody at gunpoint, nobody even knew. So, until they found out. So, if you relapse, or if you want to tell me that you used, I'm going to feel for you. But as far as what it does for me in my day and my life, the only thing it's going to do for me is make me happy that you're a person who's trying to get recovery.
So I just want to jump in here. So the basis for anyone who's been through recovery programs, there's a serenity prayer. And it starts off with granting the acceptance, to accept the things I cannot change. And that's the basis of recovery as well, is because when we are out of balance in terms of if we're angry, anxious, frustrated, bored, whatever it is, taking on other people's stuff affects the way that we are operating. If I'm taking on your stuff, it's creating that imbalance in my world that I get upset and I get anxious and I'm taking on whatever feelings and emotions you're feeling. That's not good for my recovery.
That's codependency, by the way.
Right. So people who are strong in recovery are less codependent. So they can tell you, I don't care in terms of it not affecting their life and the way that they day, but they do care in terms of compassion as a human being, reaching out to another addict in terms of, I'm here to listen to you and I'm an ear for you to listen to, and we can solve a problem or find a solution together. But in terms of that caring, as an addict, I take things on a very personal level because I've got a huge ego. The whole world revolves around me. And when you tell me, when Felice in the beginning used to tell me she didn't care, I go, how can you not care about me? Aren't I the most important person there is? That's...
But it wasn't that I didn't care about you. For me to say I don't care is for me to say, okay, that happened.
What was it that Katie said where your response was, that's codependent?
I'll tell you, anytime I go over this, I reach 16 seconds.
No, okay, but that's not what I mean.
No. And I'll tell you what. Go ahead. I'm going to talk about this. As many things. I'm an addict. I have stuff happening every single day. I can let that person who cut in front of me in traffic mess up my whole day if I choose to.
You said you can.
I can if I choose to. I can either choose to be happy or I can choose to be discontent or whatever I'm choosing to be at that stage. So to say caring is really more from that being present and where you are in the moment and how it's affecting your world more than anything else.
Right. No.
So what I'm talking about is that, let's say you come in this morning and you say that you relapsed, okay? And if you told me that you relapsed, my response, of course, would be, wow, thanks so much for sharing. That must have been really super hard for you to do. And that shows a lot of strength.
To share or to relapse?
To share. No, and that, he's not playing there. Right, no. Relapsing sucks.
Right.
Telling somebody about it sucks worse because we're scared. So if you come in and you tell me the truth, a couple of things happen. I feel closer to you, right? Because I feel like, okay, you trust me and respect me enough to tell you the truth. I feel for you because I know what it feels like to be there. I'm here to help if I can. I consider it not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength when anybody tells the truth about anything, right? Because we don't tell the truth because we're afraid others are going to judge us. Now, if you tell me that you relapsed and I walk around for the next month pissed off at you, why am I pissed off at you? Your relapse doesn't touch my world. I feel for you, but I'm not angry with you. Did you come steal my car? No. Did you steal my kids' lunch money? No. Did you lie to me about using? Probably. But I understand that because I'm an addict in recovery. I'm an addict. I've been there. I was a liar. I was everything that comes along with art. So am I dependent on your happiness for my happiness? No. Do I get mad when you make a mistake? Why? Let's say I got mad.
Sometimes the answer to that is yes.
Okay, but not for me. So not, and especially not if we're talking about recovery. If you make it, first of all, you guys, a relapse is a really big mistake. It's a self-sabotaging, really big, really bad mistake. And you're going to go through whatever you need to go through for that, and for that I feel for you. When I say I don't care, I mean that I don't care. It doesn't change the way that I look at you. It doesn't make me like you any less because you told me the truth about something.
So what are you not caring about?
When I use the words I don't care, it means like if you said I relapsed, and if I said, okay, that happened, so I don't care, so let's go forward, right? And let's figure out, let's step into the solution. Yes, Angelique. Angelique's like, oh.
Because we've been through this many times where when you say you don't care, and I feel hurt. So basically what you're trying to say is that the fact that I did whatever I did, it doesn't affect you, and you don't care, like it doesn't change your relationship with me. You still love me the same.
Right, exactly.
I can still call you for help. I can still come to you.
Oh.
On the contrary, like I don't care, like it's not going to make me not like you. And that's what I say. You know, you could tell me anything. I don't care what you tell me. It doesn't matter. You're the person that you are. This little girl.
Right, but sometimes you have to explain yourself because words are limited.
Absolutely.
So you say you don't care. It's like sometimes someone may wonder what you mean by that.
And so it's not that my heart doesn't feel for you. It's that it doesn't change my opinion of you. It doesn't make me think you're a bad person, and it's not going to screw up my day. I'm going to feel for you and help you if I can. But it's not going to ruin my day. And if I stay mad at you for the next month, whose month does it ruin?
Well, yours.
Mine.
But when you said that's codependent, what is define codependent?
When I'm dependent on your moods for my moods, if I come home and the boyfriend is in a fantastic mood, and so it puts me in a fantastic mood, or if he's had a hard day at work, and he comes home and he says, wow, I've had a really shitty day at work, I need a little bit of time, and I get upset and pissed off because he's not happy to see me, that's codependency, man. He's a human being with his own human emotions, right? And so I could either be angry or I could say, okay, babe, I'm going to leave you alone for a little bit. I'm going to go do a crossword puzzle for you.
But is that so extraordinary or bad that you may be...
But it's not bad or anything like that, but whose day does it screw up? He's already in a bad mood. If I'm in a bad mood because you're in a bad mood, who am I screwing up?
But don't...
Me.
It's easy for somebody else's emotions to reflect mine. If I walk into a room and I see somebody who's scrolling and...
So glad she's saying this.
You know,
you can say something first, but I have so much to say.
Then, I don't know, it might be me and my own addiction. Okay. But then I can feel that aura, that energy, like it's...
So then you have a choice.
And what do you do with it?
Right, you have a choice at that point. You can either take it on, You can just let it wash over you and be part of it for a bit. Or you could do that, I walk in here and I see Felice and I go, oh my God, you can't believe what happened. I actually really relapsed last night. And she's going, oh my God, I can't believe it. And we start having this whole conversation and it goes, can't believe it. And this one did this and this one did this and this is why I relapsed. And then she goes home and she starts talking to her sister, you can't believe what Haiti did. And this is what it does. By the end of the day, all we've been doing is discussing on the drama of what the whole thing. The worst thing for us as addicts is drama. The chaos and the drama, because the minute we get into that, because I am an emotional eater. So when my emotions are going up and down, so is my eating. So when I'm feeling discontent or frustrated, the first thing I do is put something in my mouth. So one of the things when I relapse, and I know that, and God willing, thank I have the strength to stay in program and work my program, because that is where the strength really comes from. But at that point of relapse is a point that I forget that I'm sick. At that point, when I make that conscious decision and I take that will back into my hand and I go, do you know what, maybe just one bite, maybe if I swap this thing, maybe if I do this.
Well, maybe she's pissed off at me anyway, so I might as well use.
Right, or I might as well use, or whatever reason I come up with is to justify why I'm using, and then I have these unrelenting standards that my kids cannot lie to me, and I have to be perfect and strong, and I've nailed this, and I told everyone how great I'm doing, and then I fucked up. Then I get embarrassed because I think I am, these standards of mine are the way that you operate, and you operate, and you operate, and I set these crazy standards. So when I relapse, it's not that I gave in to my disease, it's because I'm weak. It's because I don't deserve to be happy. I go down that tremendous slide of beating myself up and all that negative talk and all those frustrations. So it all started with me buying into drama. I made a choice of whatever that choice was. So when I get up in the morning, I've got two choices. I can choose to be happy because it's a conscious decision that we make.
It's perspective.
It's a perspective. Or we can just choose to see what the day throws at me, and at the end of the day, I'm going to be pissed off and discontent.
So since life is full of drama.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And full of choices.
So now what the fuck do I do?
Okay, I'll tell you. Because life is full of choices. And one of the things that being in recovery does is it gives you power. It gives you the power that you got a program to be able to relate to. Because all of a sudden, when my behaviors start getting a little tweaky, and I know when I am, because I start playing that game and no one knows me like I do, program and recovery is what gives you the power to be able to deal with it. Because you can go back and you can go, do you know what? Actually, maybe I'm feeling a little irritated. Maybe I'm feeling resentful because of what you said to me and it's sitting on me. I need to call Lucy and discuss this with you. Or I need to do this. And all of a sudden I've got tools at my disposal. I've got people I can phone. I've got a community. I've got different things. It's not that it's not going to happen. And it's not that we are perfect or we're striving not to live in this world and create this cushion around us, a buffer. We live in a dynamic world. It's giving us tools to be able to live on life's terms. And it doesn't mean to say that your terms are good for me. Being in recovery gives me the ability to say, do you know what? This isn't good for me. This is unhealthy. I don't want to take this on because it might be an hour of your time, but you know what? For the next 4 days, I'm going to feel this.
What don't you want to take on?
So that's why I do. You've got 15 minutes. You've got 15 seconds to tell me what your problem is, and we can talk about the solution for the rest of the day. Another thing, we do have choices. So, and you and I have talked about this quite a bit. Let's say I walk in here this morning. And I walk in here and you say good morning and I ignore you. And Lucy says good morning to me and I ignore you. And I sit down and I do my thing. I gotta do my Facebook thing and I'm grumbling under my breath and and I'm not paying attention to anybody and whatever, right? And that's what happened when you guys walked in. You guys have a choice, right? You could take it personally and say, uh-oh, Felice must have been mad at me. I don't know if I said something and I don't know who she is. You know, I come to this house and I expect her to be nice to me because she's running this meeting and, you know, she better get in a good mood pretty fast because, you know, she's got to sit in front of all of those people and she's supposed to be teaching us recovery and I can't look at her as my leader if she's going to walk around with that attitude and this is really pissing me off. That's one choice you had. The other choice you have in your head is to say, wow, I hope something bad didn't happen to Felice this morning. When we're done with the meeting, I'm going to go over to her and reach my hand out to her and see if there's something that she needs help with. Same exact situation. The way that you chose to look at it is different. So one of the things that recovery does help us to learn is to act instead of react. I'm not going to react if you didn't say good morning to me. I'm going to think, ruh-roh, I really, really hope Allie is okay this morning. And actually, that is what I would do. That's automatically what I would think for a bunch of reasons. First, because I care about you. Second, because your opinions of what's happening in the world, I don't need to take on. And third, because when I look at it as, wow, I really hope Allie's okay today, instead of all that chaos, drama, my world's happier. Remember, my entire world is only my perspective, right? And Susan, good morning, Susan, best mom on the whole entire planet. Susan, my mom, always says there's the story that you tell yourself, and then there's what's really happening. So if I'm in a bad mood, you guess, you've already made up this whole story about how I'm pissed at you, or I couldn't this, or I couldn't this. You've already made all that up in your head, right? You haven't even thought to chat with me and to see if I'm okay and to understand that it's not about you.
And on the flip side of this, so you walk in 9 o'clock, Felice ignores you, doesn't say hello. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you're still pissed off. You don't see her for a week. A week later, when you see her, you go, Felice, you never said hello to me 10 days ago or a week ago. You've been schlepping this around for a week, okay? Or she doesn't even know it happened.
10 minutes later, I've already forgotten.
She doesn't even know. So you've been carrying all this baggage as being sitting on one side of your brain that keeps annoying you. You know how those things just sit there and niggle us?
And who is it hurting? It ain't hurting me. I don't even know you're upset.
Instead of turning around and go, Felicia, you okay?
You okay?
You know, some of the stuff we carry around with us is the stuff that we carry in our heads. And the thing with relapse and being in recovery is being able to tell on ourselves, because it's the secrets, when we don't talk about it, it's the secrets inside us that fester. You know, John DeMartini always said, whatever you think about, you bring about. So if we're thinking about guilt and shame, all we're doing is bringing on more guilt and shame and how we relapse, and then that relapse carries on longer because we're guilty and shameful.
And one of the reasons why we're guilty and shameful, and we're going to go back to this, is because we're lying. And I don't care who you are, if you have any kind of conscience and want to be any person in integrity, the lying part sucks. So when I was in relapse and somebody asked how I was lying every friggin' second of my life, man. So by not telling, because that's an important tell for me, that part that I don't tell, that's actually, that omission at that point is a betrayal. And that betrayal is a lie. And when I'm lying, I'm not walking in integrity. And to not walk in integrity feels really, really, really bad. Right? Right? And so now I start my own chaos. Right? I'm lying to me, so I'm lying to you. I'm lying to me, well, she's probably not going to know, nobody's going to know, and if they find out, it doesn't matter because I'm going to take care of it before they find out, all of that stuff. We can quiet our lives and quiet that noise and give somebody their 15 seconds of what's going on with you, and then positively help somebody to step into the solution and not carry everybody else's caca with us throughout our days, because it's really, really heavy weight, you guys.
So you can be compassionate without taking it on. You don't need to own other people's things. Doesn't mean to say we can't be compassionate, understanding, kind, considerate, all those things that we strive to be.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I need to take on whatever is chaotic in your world and put it in my world and transfer it over. You know, when my mother was very ill and I was in New York, the whole family spinning, and I understand we didn't know what was going on, if she was going to survive, if she wasn't going to survive, and everyone's worried. And there's one thing, I knew at a certain stage I couldn't control what was going on. Firstly, I'm not a doctor. 2, I don't know enough about this, and 3, no matter what I do, it's not about me, it's about her. So I made conscious efforts every single day to be kind, compassionate, considerate, and present. So if I could be those things, I could be present for her, compassionate and understanding, but I didn't need to, I was upset and worried and all that stuff, but I didn't need to own it that the whole day, every single second, I'm upset and worried. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I can make decisions throughout the day of still being able to be useful, helpful, and kind without having to be mean and anxious and irritable and bring everyone that I see into the whole story of I don't know what's going on with my mother, and it becomes a whole shift in my world that the next thing I know I'm doing is I'm snacking.
You know, the thing is too, you guys, is that life is going to happen. You know, brothers are going to get sick. Your kids are going to die. I mean, hurricanes are going to happen. There are going to be some tragedies that happen in our lives. Are we going to react to that? Of course. Are we human beings? Of course. Are we going to feel bad? Are we going to be scared? Remember, all of our negative emotions are fear, right? And so fear, what's the fear of somebody dying? It's the fear of, so fear, I say every week, fear is I'm either going to lose something that I have, that I wanted, or I'm not going to get something that I wanted. Somebody's sick and you're afraid for them because they're going to die. You're not going to have that person in your life. That's really, really scary. Can we look at that and say, well, Mom's probably going to die today, but I'm not going to have any feelings about that because it doesn't serve me? Of course not. Of course we're going to be devastated. We're scared. You know, we're scared, and that's okay. Recovery, hopefully, well, recovery will, working a recovery program, teach us that we can grieve, that we can feel bad, that the things in life can affect us, but they don't have to affect us forever.
So, you know, every year, thousands of lemmings, my friend said, every year, thousands of lemmings jump off a cliff because other lemmings do it. Okay, so the thing is, we don't need to, we've got certain choices in terms of what we're taking ownership of. You know, it doesn't mean that the world comes to a standstill because we are in recovery. Stuff happens, but if something happens, we don't need to pull out a baseball bat and start beating ourselves up and say, my mom's ill, and you did this, you cut me off in traffic, whatever it is. Instead of being our own soulmates and our own best friends and the most compassionate with ourselves, as an addict, I tend to put other things first. So the more things I'm putting in front of me, the more I'm putting it in front of my recovery, the further away I am from being healthy and happy. So those become the choices that we start making.
What was your question, Johnny?
Explain that further.
Sure. What I just said. Okay, so I'll tell you.
Like when you're saying you're putting things in front of you.
Right, I'll tell you what that looks like. So I've got a program that works for me. Part of that program is my gratitude list, doing my steps, coming to meetings, being part of community, being accountable. Relapse happens way before relapse happens.
Relapse. Right. Way before we pick up.
Before we pick up.
Right.
So for me, I know when I'm starting to head towards that, because now how I know I stopped doing the things in my program. I start becoming cocksure that, do you know what? I've got this under my belt. I don't need to go. I've been clean for a year, whatever the story is. I've been clean for however long. And all of a sudden, things start falling apart. Because I put things before. I put my work, I put my family, I put your chaos, your drama, the driver who just cut in front of me. I put all those other things instead of doing those things that I'm supposed to do. I don't plan, I don't do my meal plans, I don't do my food plans. When we start letting that stuff slide, because we're too busy, you know, the hurricane happened.
Or we're making whatever excuses that we want to use.
100%. So all of that becomes before our recovery rather than our recovery coming first. And that clean time doesn't matter, whether it's a day or whether it's a year or 20 years, it matters to the person who's carrying it. You don't wear that as I would wear it. The guilt that we carry through this process and the guilt that we let go of is our own journey.
And so when we're truthful, you guys, you're going to find, so we say, part of being an active addiction is lying. And they say in the rooms, you're only as sick as your secrets. And I really believe that. So when we're walking around with integrity and we're being truthful and we don't have to think about what we lied about and we don't have to worry about how somebody's going to react or act. By the way, we talk about this a lot. You are responsible for your own health and your own well-being. You are not responsible for how I react to something that you said. As long as you come from a place of love and you're doing your best to do your best. right? So I show up, I do my best to do my best, and if I need to tell you something, I'm going to come from a place of love. Whatever else happens out there in the universe happens out there in the universe. We worry about telling other people the truth because of our ego. Because ego is what I think, how I think you see me, right? Your opinion of me. So when I allow your opinion of me to give myself my own opinion of me, I got a problem. So I know if I'm walking in integrity and I'm doing my best to do my best, and I'm a good, kind person as best as I can be, then your opinion of me really doesn't matter. Again, we talked about this last week, right? At the end of this meeting, there'll be people out there that have listened, or people in here that have listened, that have said, oh my God, these girls, and they talk and they say so much stuff, and I don't even know where they are, and they probably don't even know what recovery is, and they're probably both lying, and I don't know who they think they are. And that girl, just because she has a couple of letters after her name, she thinks that she could tell me what to do, and that other girl, who is she? Like, they're just sitting in her living room, and I can't even believe that they're on Facebook, and how dare they do that, right? And then there are going to be some people that think, hey, I watched this really great, meeting this morning about recovery on Facebook, and I really got a lot out of it, and it was really cool that people were kind and helpful. We're going to show up the way that we show up. If you leave happy or upset, that's about you.
But if someone's got you wrong, like don't you want to straighten them out?
No.
Don't you want to correct them?
No.
I'm not saying that.
Okay, no. What do I have control of, boys and girls? My own perspective and my own actions. I have no control, nor do I want to even try to control your perspective. What if they're misunderstanding? Who cares? Oh. Who cares? I'm not going to waste time in my day worrying about how you see me if I'm doing my best to do my best. If I feel comfortable with me, if I know that I'm a good person and that I do my best for me and I do my best for others, if you don't like me, man, that's about you. Big thing we learn in recovery is what we are in control of and what we're not in control of. And when I let go of that control and I don't worry about your opinion of me, my life is a lot easier. Because if I'm trying to control how you think of me, this is how my day goes. Hey, Allie, you wouldn't believe it. Like, I was at the meeting and I could see Johnny was pissed off at me and he was disagreeing with me the whole time. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call him. Should I call him? Should I send him an email? I'm not really sure. Maybe I'll text him. But you know, what should I say? Like, can you kind of help me out? Like, let's role play. And wait a second, I got Haiti on the other line. Haiti, you wouldn't believe what happened this morning. Johnny was there and he said this and I said this, but I could see on his face and he went, oh, Angeli, you know, were you at the meeting this morning? I don't need that.
Oh, you're not supposed to be that way?
Well, so you're not supposed to or not supposed to do nothing. For me, my life is a lot less chaotic. Let's say I notice that you're in a bad mood. Or I think that you're reacting to something that I said. My life is a lot less chaotic. If you guys know, if you have any questions or concerns after, please talk to me. And that you all get to live your own lives. That's it. So I've cut out this whole, you know, the people, I love these people. So somebody cuts you off in traffic, right? And you start your morning calling me. I call you. Good morning, baby. What's going on? I'm in traffic and I've been sitting here for an hour. And this person cut me off. I don't know if they know how to drive and they're probably not even from there. And they probably don't even have a driver's license. And then you get another call, right? Mm-hmm. Allie calls you. Good morning, sweetheart. How's your day? You wouldn't believe it. Right? We don't have to take on other people's stuff. And again, if I'm doing my best, I don't need to control what your opinion is of me. Maybe you're angry, maybe you're sad, maybe you've had a bad day, maybe. I'm not going to guess about it, and I'm certainly not going to worry about it, because if I'm worrying about how you feel, it's screwing up my day, which doesn't allow me to be kind and be of service to somebody else. Yes.
So one of the things I really lack is mind control, because I'm an addict. So I always thought that if I did it my way, I would be okay. So what I did for 42 years is I always did it my way. So I kept relapsing, starting. I just wasn't in recovery. I was just serial dieting and using and abusing and emotional eating and gaining and losing weight until I actually realized that I lost my train of thought. So what happened? Okay, so I thought if I could control this, then I've got this. My weight doesn't work. When I take control, I can't even control my own life and my own world and my own way, doing things my way. Then I take on yours on top of it, so then I don't need to deal with mine. And if I take on yours on top of it, I don't need to deal with anything. I could just focus on you and just really not deal with me. And part of recovery, and the scariest part of recovery, and the best part of recovery, is the journey into self-discovery. And really, we're not that bad people. I mean, I'm quite enjoying myself in terms of this journey. It's something I've put off for years. The person I took the longest to get to know and the person I fought the most to get to know is me. I will get to know a stranger on the street quicker, the teller and the checkout person at Publix, than I actually take the time to get to know me. So part of that control really is that ego. It's that ego and that denial of not wanting to deal with what's in front of us, because it's so much easier to deal with other people's stuff.
And the ego meaning, and this is part of what you're talking about, if I do call you and tell you I am right and try to change and try to manipulate the way that you're thinking of me, as long as Johnny likes me, then I could be in a good mood because I'm a good person. Whether you like me or not, I could be in a good mood because I'm a good person.
I love that.
Yeah, no, that's
I love that.
It's
just something that happened to me yesterday, and I've been debating with it. I've been dealing with it, and I like saying, and one half of my brain is saying, "All right, it's not me, it's him. He's having a bad day. It's not me, you know." And the other half of me is like wanting his approval,
ego.
You know,
ego,
and
his
validation.
Opinion, right? Because his opinion of you matters more to you than where you are.
Right.
And so you guys, when we lack self-esteem, we look to others to fill us up.
Right.
You know, this is another thing with telling the truth. Angela has done a lot of work. And when Angela and I first met each other, she was a sponsee of mine. And we first met each other, she would have stuff written down, and it would take her 20 minutes to tell me one thing, and she'd be scared, and we didn't know each other. She'd be scared, and she was 1 second into thinking about being in recovery. And she would be so worried about how I was going to react to something that she thought about 6 years ago. Now, first of all, whatever you did 2 seconds ago or whatever, if you didn't do it to me, I'm gonna tell you it's not gonna change my opinion of you, right? Everything that's ever happened to us in our lives, you guys, has brought us right here. Everything, okay? And Ange would go to tell me stuff and I'd crack up. So she'd be trying to tell me something, and then she would tell me something, and after she'd tell me, I would giggle, which would make her crazy. And I'm like, okay, and you're worried about what? Then I'm not gonna like you, why? And I used to tell her, the only way that I look at you as a young woman stepping into recovery, who's doing her best to do her best right now, who am I to say anything different, right? So if I'm judging you because of something that you did, it's because I'm having some shame about what's happened to me in my own life. I don't need to judge you for what you did. Right now, you're the person who's trying to do your best to do your best.
When you're judging someone else, it's because it's shame you have in your life.
Why would I judge you?
Why makes me so better?
Right. Why am I so much better than you? You haven't walked in my shoes, right? I have a medical degree. I have a PhD. I'm a certified recovery support specialist. I'm a drug addict, an alcoholic, and an anorexic. I'm a mom, I'm a sister, I'm all of those things. I'm a daughter. Stuff that's happened in the past doesn't make who I am right now. Maybe it makes me a little bit stronger, and I think a lot more empathetic because I've been through a bunch of stuff. People who want to judge me about 10 years ago going into treatment because I was an alcoholic and a drug addict. You know, I don't want to be so bold as to say, so I'm not going to say it that way. My 17-year-old son died. So before you judge me about my choices, you've never walked in my shoes. And I really understand that. You know, do you want to see me as a person who's struggling to get better? Or do you want to see me as a piece of shit? And my therapist talks with me a lot because when I talk about relapse, I always say, yeah, when I was like that piece of shit that relapsed. And she's like, you weren't a piece of shit. Like, would you judge somebody else who relapsed? Of course I wouldn't. Then stop judging yourself. Right? We don't need to judge ourselves for stuff that happened because that happened. Right? What we can do is move forward, be honest, and do our best to do our best. Yes, ma'am.
It sounds like there's a lot of things that we just have to let go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but that's really hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because if someone does something to you and you want to harbor it or keep it, it's just, you know, sometimes I feel like I need to let them know, but it might just be better to just be like, fuck it, it's not even that important in the grand scheme of things. But that's hard to get that perspective in a situation. You know what I mean?
Yes, like, and the only, so we know, I'm gonna let you talk in a second, we know that feelings aren't facts, right? So I had this bad feeling about something that happened. If I hold on to it, it's just me holding on to something that's a feeling, right? So I could change that feeling. So I was a sexually abused teenager, young teenager, like whatever they call them, tween-ager. And I was in therapy for quite a while. Actually, when my mom died, that was one of the things that I was so grateful for, was that she never found out. Like, my mom died when I was 30 or whatever. But anyway, I can go back and hold on to whatever it is, the guilt and the shame and all of that stuff that for some reason we feel as little girls when the person who's doing whatever they're doing, it's like that whole crazy thing. I can hold on to that and be pissed off and judge people and be scared, and or I can actually, and you know when they say when you're angry with somebody, pray for them. And I used to say, yeah, I'm going to pray that they get hit by a truck. That's when I'm going to pray. So, but what it means is, if I could turn around and look at this person and say, this person was effing crazy, man. And I hope that he's better, because I hope he doesn't hurt some other little kid like that. That's what I hope. And it is what I hope. It took a lot of therapy. We're talking about a lot of money right here. But it took a lot of therapy to understand that I can harbor that anger, or I can let go of it. I can speak about it, so hopefully somebody else will speak about it too. Right?
I mean, I get that.
Okay, there's one thing I learned from an attorney, because I deal with quite a few of them. We have two choices when it comes to a situation. We can either be smart or we can be right. And
or we could be happy, or we could be right.
Right, but I mean, smart is really being able to say, listen, do I really need to be right? Am I going to collect those gold stars and look at my job, gold stars afterwards, and say I was right 350 million times? Or is the smartest thing for me to do just to walk away? Or to smile, have you right, have a fabulous day. I mean, honestly, there's no skin off my nose to be able to, if someone's really starting to get under my skin, to go, you're right, walk away. You know, it's as simple as that it drives people nuts, but it definitely works. So just think of this for a second. When we, each time I'm going to go back to each time we lie to ourselves. So taking a little stone and sticking it in our soul. For me, it manifested in my outward appearance. So, you know, all those years of stuffing my feelings and hiding those little secrets and hiding them away. After a while, all those little stones become this heavy burden that we start schlepping around. It's the other person that I'm carrying. The weirdest thing is when I talk about my lies, or I don't even, let's have lied, I talk about it, we end up laughing about it.
Of course
9 out of 10 times we laugh about it. It's a totally different dynamic to be able to go, do you know what? I screwed up. Okay, I'm human. I learned this and this and this, and I'm moving on. I'm picking myself up. I'm getting back into program, dusting those proverbial clothes off, and getting back into my program and carrying on.
Yeah, and you guys, whatever happened 10 seconds ago, there's nothing I can do about
Oh.
it. I can't do anything
Lucy's
about
dying.
it. Go on, Lucy.
No, how do you let go? How do you let
It's
go?
as easy as letting go.
I don't
First of
know
all,
how to do
it's
that.
very, very hard.
It is.
It's not easy. It's
Let
very,
go of
very
what?
difficult.
Let go of what?
Anger, of disappointment, of
Who
of-
is
of-
it serving? Look at me. Your anger, because we've talked about this, your anger and your disappointment, is it serving you?
No.
Is it making you happy
No.
and healthy and joyous
No.
and free?
No. I know.
It's not. What would happen if you let go?
I don't know how.
Well, actually, you do a little bit of recovery work, it's going to help you out.
Okay.
It really is going to help you out. You
Okay.
guys, we attach, so remember, something happens. There's an event that happens, and we attach a lot of feelings to it. Okay? My 17-year-old son died in an accident. He did. I held on to that sadness, and I was 36 years old, and I was the cleanest person on the planet. Okay? And I held on to that sadness, and I lived my life, and on the outside, I was perfect. I practiced medicine, and I did it really well. I took care of you, and you, and you, and I did it really well. I got, my son had all of his friends stay and live in the house, and I did it really well. I never worked on the sadness, and I held on to it for so long, and I wore it as this cape, and that sadness defined my life. Everything in my entire life revolved around what had happened with my son, right? Until I was so sad that I couldn't bear it anymore, and I started drinking, and one day I had a drink, and something switched, and I became an alcoholic, which I guess I always was, and that alcohol, my alcoholism, defined my life. Holding on to that sadness, when I went into therapy, I was in treatment for 6 months, and when I went into therapy, I discovered that one of the reasons why I held on to that sadness was because I felt if I let go of the sadness, I was letting go of my son. But that's not what happened. So letting go of the sadness allowed me to look at the 17 years that I had with this goofy, amazingly funny, hysterically funny, wonderful child that I got to hang out with, right? And to celebrate his life instead of wanting to die because he died. So we attach whatever we attach to certain things that happen in our life, right? I know what you're talking about. So you had anger and resentment toward whatever it is. We don't have to talk about it on TV. You're holding on to it so tight, but for what?
I don't want to, but I don't know how to let go.
Well, how you let go is you change your perspective. And so how you let go is, first of all, if somebody's hurt you because of the person that they are, you can look at them and you could actually feel bad for them because they're unhappy and they're disgruntled, and hope for the best for them so that you can start living your life. You know, sometimes too, you guys, we harbor our anger and our resentments to keep us stuck where we are because we don't know what our life looks like without it. We stay in our addiction. That thing that I read, there are 5 words that are part of every addict's vernacular. It says the thought of living with our addiction is horrifying, but not as horrifying as the thought of living without it. And so we talk about making complete change, making a complete spiritual change, right? Living by different principles, understanding that we can be honest and truthful and have integrity and reach out to somebody else, and to live our life that's a whole lot more happy and joyous, which allows us to be of service, right?
You know, the one thing with resentment is it kind of closes our heart, because what we're doing is we are so focused. Each time I've got a resentment against you or you, it's just that little chip that we keep inside us, and 20 years later it's still there and the other person's forgotten about it, or they don't even know it exists, or maybe they did, or maybe they don't, and we schlep it around. It's the same thing as you were talking about your sadness and how you wore it like a cloak. That's how my food was. My whole day was obsessed about food. What I was having for breakfast, where I was stopping to get my coffee, what I was having for lunch, what I'm eating for what. The thing is, as a matter of perspective, that was how I was dealing with all my broken heart, which I had
Right,
created.
right.
Okay. A lot of the resentment is for me to be able to stay where I am, because you know what? I'm an addict and I love my substance of choice. I absolutely do. I mean, at the end of the day, I love it. If I didn't love it, I wouldn't keep going back to it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well,
so the thing is, I love it in my head, but in my body and my heart, it's bad for me. So I had to come to a certain realization. It's fine to keep putting this in, but what does my life look like when I'm doing things to myself that's unhealthy? I'm focusing on the unhealthy stuff. If I'm letting go of the unhealthy and opening up space for other things, because by holding that resentment, you're closing off yourself to other things. By letting that go,
Happiness.
opens up
No.
your heart not only to happiness, but to health. Because if I'm eating, because I'm an emotional eater, if I'm happy, I'm not eating.
So that goes back to, thank you for saying that. That goes back to, it's not about the drugs. It's not about the food. It's not about the alcohol. That's what we choose to put into our bodies to change our brain's chemistry because we think it's going to make us feel better. It's about what's eating us. It's always going to be about what's eating us. Our sickness isn't this. Our sickness is here. Our sickness
Which
is
brings
here.
us back to what Susan said.
It's a thinking disease.
But it's not what your story and this story.
Right. It's the story. It's what really happened, and then the story I tell myself.
So
I can be telling myself whatever about this world. Right?
Why are there two stories?
Again, so I walk in the room and I didn't talk to Allison. Right? I didn't talk to her. She said, "Good morning, Felice," and I completely ignored her and I walked away and I started doing something else and I started talking to Haiti. Her story could either be, Felice is such a bitch and I was going to talk to her today and I can't believe she's ignoring me. I'm not really sure if she thinks she is, and she talks about recovery all the time, but is she really in recovery? I don't think so. Maybe I said something, at the other meeting, I think that we talked about, about relapse or whatever, and maybe now she thinks that I'm relapsing and maybe she doesn't like me anymore and maybe she isn't going to talk to me and I wanted to be in her class, but maybe she's not even going to let me, and maybe I don't even want to be in her class because, I don't really like her anyway, and maybe she doesn't even like me. She could go there because I didn't say good morning. Or she could say to herself, gee, hope nothing's up with Felice. I'm going to give her a shout out later and see if she needs anything. You have no idea of what's happening in my head. The only thing that you know is the story that you're telling yourself. Why choose the first story when you could choose the second?
And also the stories that we hold on to are the ones that we emotionally connect to. So it triggers something in us. So it's either something we don't want to deal with, it's something that we don't want to face, it's something that triggers something in us. I mean, those ultimately is where those stories lie. So being able to see us reacting, this is how I read myself, is when I start seeing myself reacting, because I've got the tools of the recovery tools, I'm able to then monitor myself and say, do you know what? Something's not feeling right. What am I feeling? Something is up here, and start working on that. So the feeling side of it is important for us in terms of judging where we are, because it's all about the feelings.
Right. And so it's yes.
I was just going to say something that you taught me in the very beginning is if I don't know, just ask too, because
That's a good one.
That was one. It was a simple thing, but it was a thing that I struggled with a lot because I was like almost 100% in my head.
Right, and because you thought that others or I or everybody was consistently judging you.
Right.
And that was because you were consistently judging yourself.
Right.
Usually, or you wouldn't care if I was judging you.
Right.
You would say, oh, Felice is a bitch. And that would be that, right? Not she doesn't like me, she doesn't. And when we're harboring resentment, so let's say I have a resentment against, well, we're going to use the ex-husband thing. So let's say, let's just put it out there, Liz. If you're harboring anger and resentment against your ex, normally that would be because deep down inside, you felt like you weren't good enough, or you weren't nice enough, or you didn't do what was right, or you weren't pretty enough, or you weren't lovable enough, or you weren't caring enough, or you're not smart enough, or you think that he acted the way that he did because of you. If the guy's an asshole, he's an asshole, whether he's with you or with somebody else. So remember, that's all that you have control over is your perspective and doing your best, right? and your own actions. However he feels or whatever he did, or he's an addict, correct? So you're going to judge somebody while they're in active addiction. Feel bad for him, man.
They say,
What kind of life was he living? Feel bad for the dude. Let it go. Right? Wow, he must have been a miserable MF. Now let it go. Because like Haiti said, you're so full of anger and hurt and fear and resentment, there's no room for any beauty and joy to really be inside you.
so let's put this in perspective. If we up how many hours a day? Like what are waking, how long are you awake a day? So let's say we're up 12 hours a day. We've got a limited amount of time. So in those 12 hours, some of it's eating, some of it's doing other stuff, showering and stuff. Some of it we're not thinking. But if we spend the time that we're actively thinking, obsessing about resentments, do you know what we missed? We missed the beautiful sunset. We missed the song on the radio. We missed the person who's looking like they needed a hello at Publix. We missed the movie because we are so focused in our heads that we stuck there, that we forget things around us. And so many things around us are so beautiful and bring so much joy that we shut ourselves off to, that we stay in that black area of misery.
You know, when I tell people that that my son passed away, they say to me, didn't you have 2 other kids? Well, yes, I have 2 other amazing sons. At that time, did I see that? No. Did I miss part of that beauty and amazement and joy that I could have had, paying attention to the fact that I had 2 other kids? Yeah, I could have. Do we get sad? Do we get fearful? Do we get resentful? Does life show up? Yes. How long we choose to stay there is up to us. That's up to us and us working on getting better as opposed to us staying stuck and sick and scared.
And part of that is doing work. And part of that work is being in a program where you're able to work through it. So it's being, the uniqueness about our community is we are all very similar. We've got the same things. We do similar behaviors. We've all lied. We've all eaten food for different reasons or dealt with our addiction in different ways. But none of us have done anything that we sit here and go, oh my God, I can't believe she actually did that.
Whatever.
Nothing. This is the one non-judgmental space. So for us, this is the ability to get stronger, to get healthier, get the tools, get the techniques, and be able to live happy, healthy lives.
And to be of service to the universe, man. When we're stuck and sick and scared, how are we of service to you? How am I of service to the guy next door, to the little kid that needs a smile? How am I of service there?
One of the things that I've thought about, especially going through the whole colon bursting thing and stuff, I think, if I died tomorrow, what would people say about me? Like, what have I achieved in terms of my world? Besides being a fantastic mother, a great wife, all that kind of stuff, for the amount of years that I spent stuck in my addiction and losing time and wasting time and all that kind of stuff, using that more constructively or doing whatever, having other choices is where we are now. I don't want to stay stuck where I was for 42 years. It's a miserable, horrible place to be in. It's bleak and sad.
And if a meteor falls down on this house and we all die, does how you feel with that pain and resentment, is that where you want to have been right now? No, right? And so it's going to be you working through that. And we'll work through that when we're doing our recovery classes, you guys.
So can I just touch on a couple of things?
Do the meal
we got
planning
caught
thing.
away. We got caught up in all of this there, and we missed everybody. We missed our last Sunday because of Hurricane Irma. But Wednesday night we do not have a meeting. It's Rosh Hashanah, just so you know, this Wednesday night, and next Wednesday night is Yom Kippur. So we will not be doing.
Next Friday, the following Friday night.
No, it's 8 days after. Oh yeah, it's right. It's Friday. Oh, following Wednesday, we have a meeting. So this Wednesday, no meeting.
But we'll have it up on my way
Sunday.
for recovery.
Right,
okay,
and there is
I
a Sunday
even
meeting.
Remember that.
So 9 a.m. next Sunday. But please do your gratitude list. It's the essential gratitude list, food plans. Connect with us on Facebook.
Reach out to your community, you guys. And when you're feeling like caca, reach your hand out to somebody else. Getting out of self and being of service allows us to get out of our own caca.
I just want to say something quickly. Shout out to Jessica. Hi, Jessica.
Hi, Jess. Hi, Danielle, if you're watching. I'm going to read the promises from Alcoholics Anonymous because it's my favorite and because I can. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. And you guys, I read it every week, but I really want you to listen to the words. Really want you to listen. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit somebody else. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things, like that self-pity, and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations that used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that the universe does for us what we can't do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We don't think so. They're being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly and sometimes slowly, but they will always materialize if you work for them. I am blessed and grateful. I'm so blessed and grateful to be in recovery, you guys. You have no idea. Blessed and grateful for all of you out here, my peeps that come to this house. God bless you because you keep me strong and sane and you help my recovery so much, so thank you.
So I'm so blessed and grateful for all of you. I just want to wish you ever celebrates the new year, for a happy new year and all things good for this year. I want to wish you a beautiful week. Stay safe, everyone in New York with Hurricane Jose apparently, just wishing everyone well. Beautiful week and peace out from me.
Stay clean, you guys. Recovery is awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, I problem.
Did we ever turn that on? Oh, we did, right? 'Cause